we went off.
Welcome to a special edition of Let's Ride with Chris Harris Jr. I am Patrick Chiotti. I am, of course, joined by my co-host, former Denver Bronco, Chris Harris Jr., and today's special guest, former Denver Bronco, former third-round pick. You were 87th overall, man, in 2010. 222 catches with the Broncos, 3,070 receiving yards, and 33 touchdowns. Good lucky number with the Broncos. From 2010 to 2013, I am talking, of course, about wide receiver Eric Decker. Eric, thanks for joining the show. How you doing, man?
I'm good, guys. I appreciate you having me. Chris, it's been a minute. Good to see your face, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Eric, Chris brought something to my attention before the show, and he mentioned that you guys actually played against each other in college.
Yeah.
And I want to give Chris the opportunity to start this show off with a little bit of a bang. Chris, take it away.
Yeah, man, I'll never forget, man. In college, we're getting ready for Minnesota, and they're like, "Hey, Chris, you got to play the slot and play a little safety this game." I had been playing corner. They're like, they got a stud receiver. You got to stop, man. You got to try to guard it. I think Decker just, he gave me an old school killing. I think we got the dub, but I think Decker definitely went off that game. He taught me some lessons, that I was able to, learn from and get ready for the next years, though. But, man, people don't understand Decker was a monster in college. And have they retired your jersey or anything in Minnesota? Oh, man, come on, Minnesota. Y'all got to come on now, man. Deck needs to be in the Hall of Fame, the Ring of Fame, which y'all have up there. Definitely one of the best receivers in our era, for sure, in college.
I appreciate that because I'll speak on my half and say I hated going against Chris. Whether it was a bowl game in Arizona or practice in Denver. Even when I went to New York and played you guys, I came when you guys came actually to New York. But just like this dude was an animal. Like you could not get past him. Strong, fast, smart, everything. And I was scared going into Denver with Champ, but then Chris comes in undrafted, hungry, and this dude just like brawled. So, dude, I respect you so much. You had an amazing career, and dude, you earned every piece of the success.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
You guys were, those years watching you guys in Denver, for me as a Broncos fan growing up, that was like the highlight, right? That season with Tebow. And then into the Peyton years. You guys were electric to watch every week. It was so much fun. And then, of course, watching you, Eric, along with your draft mate, Demaryius Thomas, and the bond that you guys had on the field, it was definitely something that a lot of Broncos fans loved. And you were a huge part of that offensive success with Peyton in those first couple of seasons. So, just want to say thank you as a Broncos fan for giving us some fun games to watch, man. Those games in Kansas City, I always knew you were going to go off in Kansas City because it was like there's only 187 that's going into Kansas City and performing on Sundays, right? So, from the bottom of my heart and from the rest of Broncos country, we just want to say thank you for all your contributions to the team and to the organization. But Eric, I wanted to start off this interview with a bit of a big question, a deep question. A lot of guys go into the NFL, and of course we know the NFL stands for not for long. And there's always a life after football. And you seem to have just taken that life after football and run with it. Reality show. Your wife has her own successes. You're a dad. You've got kids running around. Chris, you also have 5 kids running around. Like
5 kids.
5 kids.
5 girls, man. All girls.
So I wanted to ask Eric, what moment in your NFL career had a profound impact on your own personal growth?
You know what? I love this statement because I feel as is the perception that my transition was easy, and honestly, it was difficult. And I went through a spell of depression and had a hard time coming out, even though I had obviously a beautiful wife and she was successful in her own way and providing for us, 3 healthy kids, and just obviously the means to kind of relax in a sense and do what I wanted, but still felt like was lost because I think my whole identity was so tied to football, even from a young age. It's kind of what motivated me and drove me to have success was, kind of rooted in my upbringing and always trying to
Yeah.
chase something, chase that success, chase the recognition from folks, family members or people in my community.
Sure.
And so I would say that I think football in itself creates the characteristics to be resilient, and it teaches you a lot of lessons. Teamwork, I mean, obviously it carries on after life. I think just hard times, dealing with the ups and downs. I think communication is one thing that works in a sense, because you can rely on each other, I think, from a non-verbal way, but from a verbal way, it's like, don't say anything that's going to rock the boat. I think that was a hard thing for me was, you tuck stuff inside and you never really expressed, all right, what's bugging me? What am I frustrated about? What am I sad about? What am I happy about? And, those are things that I think I had to learn kind of this after football life journey. And so it's been,
Sure.
great for me to be around a lot of spiritual people because I feel that was what really got me out of my rut and into this place I consider very healthy lifestyle now. And, having a spiritual component and defining what that camaraderie, locker room, men group looks like. I think I
Yeah.
found those are two big fundamental things that I've now created in my life to help just make me a more balanced person.
Oh, it's an amazing answer, man. And I had another question that kind of tied into it, and you sort of answered it, but I kind of want to build on it. So, playing football demands a lot of hard work. It demands a lot of leadership, and it forces you to be able to work as a team. So, in what aspects has that kind of translated into your role as husband and father to your kids?
Yeah. Well, I think being at the pinnacle of your career or in your profession, and then having obviously the reliance of teammates on you to, perform at a day-to-day level, trust that you're going to do and be accountable for your job, just carried over to family life. Like you're accountable to provide
Yeah.
for these kids and to love on them and to take care of them and show them. And again, I'm not the most verbal leader. It's not my strength, but I think
Sure.
being present and showing it by actions is just as important, if not more. And so I think also with that, like you're authentic. You are who you are, and I think I realized that early on. Like I'm not Peyton Manning. I'm not going to lead the charge, but I'll follow and I'll be contributing. I'll be right there, and I'm going to support whatever that goal is, just at home as well. Like, listen, these are things that are important for us at home. Here's our foundation, and I think again the spiritual aspect, the love. Everything derives from love. So how do you express that? Whether it is physical, whether it is verbally, or it's just showing your kids that support. That's all kids want. Has been super important for us to provide that for our family.
Great answer. Chris, you got a question for Eric?
Oh yeah. What do you think in your game? Because people wouldn't say that you're the fastest or the biggest or had the best hands. How did you have so much success in the league? To be able to play as long as you did, score as many touchdowns and yardage that you did, and what do you think that kind of separated you in the league compared to other receivers? I like asking people these questions.
Yeah,
I like it too.
I mean, I would say that is 100% accurate, and I think there was a time in my college career. It was actually after my redshirt freshman year. The first time going through winter workouts, and I'm in Minnesota, and it's like -15, -20 with the wind chills. It felt like Antarctica, dude. And I'm driving in my moped. I got my snowmobile helmet on, and I'm just like, it's like Dumb and Dumber, but way colder. And I was questioning, like, do I really want this? Like, is this what I want? Because I ended up playing baseball as well, and that's part of the reason how I was out of spring training and winter workouts and stuff. But like that was a defining moment for me because it showed, I guess, that like I had no other choice. Like I was going to go forward and just fight through it. I think the hard work and the determination really is what got me the success in my career. Because from a skilled point, I feel like I could beat you at ping pong. I could beat you at basketball shooting. Could you do some of the skill stuff well, but from an athletic perspective, I definitely wasn't out running a DT of the world or out catching him. I wasn't. I think route running, being precise, and just outworking people was really what was contributing to my success. And I think also the relationships, so important, especially as a skilled player with the quarterback and just the guys around you. Like, you got to be reliable or dependable, and that's something that I wanted to be. And so the communication of like understanding the game, understanding the concepts, understanding coverages, and knowing, okay, this is how routes run, or here's an adjustment, and doing it consistently, you build that trust, and you're able to get more opportunity with it.
Yeah. And you were physical. I think being physical as a receiver, that kind of sets the tone. Like, I got a guy that's gonna, he's gonna block me, right? He's gonna run these routes hard. Every route, he's not. They didn't take off routes, right? He's gonna run every route hard, So those are the things that kind of separate guys, and being in the right spot, right? If the quarterback expects you to be there, can I count on him to be there, right? And Deck was that guy, man. That was huge for us, man. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, Eric, that was a big part of when I played out here. When I got older, that was a big part of my game, was actually watching like you and DT and watching you guys away from the snap. If the ball wasn't going to your side, what were you doing? Were you still running your route? Were you still, were you blocking downfield? Were you looking for the next guy to block? Were you taking angles? That was a big part of my game. And that's why, like, I was able to build those relationships with my teammates, because they saw how hard I was working my ass off blocking downfield. If we run the ball and the ball carrier gets past me, I'm not going to just stand there and be like, okay, he's gone. I'm running with him to seeing who I can block next. And you and DT were definitely a big part of what inspired me to just be a hard worker. Just, I'm not the fastest guy. I'm not the biggest guy. But I'm going to run my route well. I'm going to block. I'm going to catch the ball on third down when we need a big catch at the sticks. You can trust me to be there. And
but Deck is bigger. Deck, you are bigger than a lot of receivers, though.
6'3" is a big. You're a big dude.
For sure. Yeah, I shouldn't say physicality wise, but I look more at the athleticism in terms of speed and overall quickness and stuff. But from a physicality point, I try to utilize my size a little bit for sure. But like you said, Patrick, I think it's the small things. I think that stuff adds up. And I always think about like Sean Moreno picking up a blitz. Yeah. Like, he's putting his body in front of someone to allow more time for us to get open. Shouldn't change when he's running and breaks one, past 10 yards. He's expecting us to block the safety or our corner to be able to get a long run. So it goes back, both ways. And I think once you have that camaraderie, which we really did the years I was there, especially 2013 when we just set all the records, because guys were just like, just very unselfish, attitudes, and like you're fed regardless. Peyton's at the helm, you're going to get your touches. Just like keep working, and I think that's what was a lot of fun about it, was that like we just didn't care. We're just like, let's go, let's do this.
Yeah, man, you definitely were an inspirational player. And speaking of inspirational players, I want to finish this interview off. DT was a very special person in all of our lives, especially for you and Chris, and for everyone in the Denver Broncos organization. Everyone that he met, he made an impact on their lives. So I want to ask you, and I'm sure Broncos country wants to know, what's your favorite memory of Demaryius Thomas?
Ooh, there's so many. I was fortunate. And I think the one that sticks out always for me first is we had the same agency. And so I was hurt my senior year, so I went down and rehabbed and did my pre-combine training early in I guess December. And after the bowl game, he came down and met us. It was API at the time. I think it's XOs now. And, initially there wasn't a lot in common with us. We'd all work on the same group, but didn't really hit it off. And then he got hurt in training. He had a metatarsal, had to get surgery, and then he started rehabbing as well. And we ended up staying extended amount of time up until actually the draft, just rehabbing. And so I think we really connected and leaned on each other through that process. And we really created this bond that was inseparable. And like, we had some of the best times. I remember like there was about 15, 16 days ago in Arizona. We'd go out and just do stuff every day. Like we spent the whole day together after rehab in our training. And after we parted ways to go home, he went obviously to New York for the draft. I was home. And just like, you know, the higher man just put us on the same team that year. We actually roomed together and lived together the first year, and just had this amazing relationship throughout the rest of his life. But like that moment, I always remember in Arizona, like, you know, obviously different backgrounds, different people, but like we were just inseparable and really needed each other in that moment. And I think that's what kind of guided us to such a beautiful relationship. And so that to me is probably one of the first memories that always sticks with me, but just throughout our life, we created a lot of fun memories on the field and really off the field as well.
Yeah, man, it was definitely touching to see, you know, all the outpour for DT from Broncos country and from across the league and everybody that he played with. So definitely thinking about him, and thank you for sharing that moment. It's choking me up, man. He's so inspirational. But Eric, I want to say thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we can have you back on and we can talk. We can talk some more Broncos. I want to talk some Broncos with you again this season.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot to talk about, but I want to respect your time and you know, thank you for joining us. Can't wait to have you back on, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Chris. Great to see you, bud.
Oh yeah. No problem, man. Thanks for coming.
Yes, sir.